For some reason, I decided to turn on Sunday Night Football this weekend to get ready to consume some NFC East action, which always tends to be boring football to me, but that's just my perspective and opinion. It's the New York Giants versus the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's like, hey, these are two teams that have winning records, a divisional rivalry. You expect it to be good. Now, unfortunately, when you turn into Sunday Night Football, you've got a boring ass studio crew that you have to see for an hour plus before the game. Then you've got to hear them jibber jabber again during halftime and bore you to tears. And you know that you're going to hear perhaps one of the worst commentary teams in NFL history in Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth. And yes, it's that bad. Sunday Night Football and the whole aura and environment around it, other than the fact that it is still the National Football League, is very boring. It's very dull. So, but for some reason, I decided to watch it anyways. Fuck it, why not? What else was I going to do on a Sunday night? So I sit there and watch, and of course, the first half is a boring-ass stinker, and it looks like the Giants don't care, as so often the case, it seems like, under Tom Coughlin, and the Eagles are going to run away with this thing. So it gets to halftime, and they do some of the highlights and recaps, and then here comes Bob Costas. And I'm like, what is Bob Costas going to talk about? And he proceeds over the next several minutes to spew nothing but caca out of his stupid miniature diarrhea hole. Bob Costas, please understand this. That the reason people hate the Cowboys is not because of the Cowboys themselves. It's not because of Tony Romo. It's not because of Jerry Jones. It's not because of who they've been. It's not because of who they are. It's because of bullshit like what you did on Sunday night, where one big victory on the road against the Seattle Seahawks, which does not a Super Bowl champion make, by the way, seems to be your avenue, your platform to proceed to go spewing all of this diarrhea about how the NFL has to have the Cowboys being good, how the league is so much better when the Cowboys are good. You wasted several fucking minutes of people's time talking about this shit. Whether you love them or you hate them, and I don't really understand why, the NFL is better off without the Cowboys. Well, ding dong, dumb dick. Let's get a few things straight here. First of all, the NFL seems to have done just fine the past 18 years or so, with the Cowboys being mediocre as shit. I do not dispute that the league will be even better off if a marquee franchise in a huge media market with a huge national fan base following like the Dallas Cowboys is good. I do not dispute that at all. But to sit there and imply that, as Costas kind of did, that the NFL just isn't as worthy and just sucks. That's pretty much how we came across. If the Cowboys aren't good. No, that's not the case. That's ridiculous. Like, I know from my standpoint, I really could give two fucks less about the Cowboys. I love making fun of them. I in particular love making fun of their largely incompetent from a football standpoint, egotistical team owner and president and all that shit, Jerry Jones. And he deserves it. He's earned that. But I don't hate Tony Romo. I hate some of the apologies that are made for him over the years that aren't all that merited or deserved. I hate how people try to spin numbers to sit there and create a narrative about him that, again, doesn't exactly wash out. But I think Romo's a guy that a lot of people should admire. A guy that went undrafted, a guy that paid his dues, a guy that worked his way up from the practice squad to be the quarterback of one of the most prominent franchises in the National Football League. Why are they prominent, mind you? It's because the national sports media has incessantly pounded them down people's throats year after fucking year, whether their play on the field, their star power has merited it or not. People don't hate Tony Romo because of things Tony Romo says or does. People hate fucking Tony Romo because of the media attention he gets, all the discussion about him, the people trying to make excuses for him, the people always trying to bash him. They don't hate DeMarco Murray. They don't hate Des Bryant. They don't hate players on the defense. They don't hate Jason Witten. Actually, if you look at it, the Cowboys have a lot of guys with redeeming qualities and a lot of players that you would actually like and you would love, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them that you would love to have on your own NFL team. The reason, Bob Costas, that so many people hate the fucking Dallas Cowboys is because of the treatment of the national sports media year in and year out. pounding these guys into a fucking spot, cramming them down our fucking throats like they're the only thing that matters, even when most years they don't fucking matter. Look at how many primetime and featured matchups and top commentary gigs the Cowboys have had just in the first 6 weeks of this season. It's either primetime or late afternoon games. Fox has got Joe Buck and Troy Aikman going. It doesn't matter who the fuck the Cowboys are playing, it seems like. All these primetime games, all this talk about the Cowboys. I've never heard more talk year in and year out about a fucking 8-8 football team like the Cowboys have been the past 3 years. I've never heard more talk about a mediocre-ass franchise that since 1995 or 96, I believe it's been, has exactly, up till this season, won as many games as it lost. That's why people hate the Dallas Cowboys. I dispute this whole notion that people are just haters and that people just want to crap on the Cowboys because they're America's team. Again, keep this in mind. That was a label given to the Cowboys by the media in part to try and make them a polarizing unit where people loved them, people hated them, but everybody reacted to them. Everybody had an opinion. Skip and whoop-de-fucking-do. Here's a team that hasn't won a Super Bowl in 19 years being still called by some America's team. Here is a team that has finished 8-8 over the past 3 seasons and hasn't made the playoffs for several years, getting talked about like they're the preeminent marquee franchise in the National Football League. Here is a bloviating windbag, not me, mind you, but somebody like fucking Bob Costas, the sportscaster elf, if there's ever fucking been one, wasting several minutes of a halftime show spewing all of this pro-Cowboy, pro-national sports media propaganda garbage about this fucking team because for once they happened to get off to a hot start. They beat somebody that fucking mattered and now they're 5-1. I don't hate on the Cowboys right now. I think it's tremendous the start they've had. Good for them and frankly good for their fans that have put up with all this mediocre, dumb, stupid crap from their owner Jerry Jones and this crappy organization over the years. But I resent this whole notion, as Bob Costas implied, that the NFL is so much better off and really isn't as relevant if the Cowboys aren't successful. Ding dong, dumb dick. The NFL's done just fine for themselves from a business standpoint over the past 18, 19 years. All the while asking, how about them Cowboys? Nobody gives a shit. And even if they do, it's the treatment by the national sports media, the incessant, consistent pounding of this team and a pro-Cowboy narrative down people's throats. That's what people resent. That's what people hate. At this point in time, unless you're a fan of the Giants or the Eagles or maybe the Redskins, maybe the 49ers, or maybe going back a little bit farther, maybe the Packers. You hate the Cowboys because they are the Cowboys. You hate them because of games. They're a divisional rival. You've had some real wars over the years. In general, most NFL fans, I don't think, really truly give a shit about the Dallas Cowboys themselves. What they resent, what they despise, what they hate, what they loathe about the Dallas Cowboys is the non-stop preferential propagandist type of treatment that idiots like Bob Costas and many other bloviating windbags in the national sports media, either via print, the internet, freaking television, give these guys. There is not a less relevant organization in recent times that has gotten more unmerited coverage than the Dallas Cowboys. Like I said, I don't dispute that the NFL is even better off if the Cowboys are good. But to sit there and imply basically that the NFL has to have the Cowboys be good is completely ridiculous because the past 18 plus seasons indicates that that is not the case and that Bob Costas is, oh, guess what? A fucking moron. Bob Costas, stop doing this crap. Start telling your colleagues in the national sports media to stop doing this crap. This is why people don't like the Cowboys. This is why people don't like the media today. It's because of sensationalistic bullshit like this. So along with everybody else that wants to continue to pound this narrative down people's throats, instead of just letting things play out and seeing what the fuck happens, Bob Costas, would you please shut the hell up?